Okay, let's go ahead and talk about that thing that matters a whole lot because it's COVID season. Edify has released a new video, and it's titled, Are Vaccine Mandates Ethical? Now, my prediction, as I haven't seen this video, is they're going to have the most broad-sweeping generalizations available, and they're not going to actually bring any nuance into the conversation, but they're going to use a lot of words, which is a common Prager tactic. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and get into the fan art section. This one is from Vzeppo, also known as Alpacent, and it is a sweater Suris. It's a very oversized sweater. It is very cute. As always, thank you very much for your fan art submissions, and if you want your fan art to be shown in a future video, the best way to do so is drop it into the fan art section of the Discord. With that said, apparently my chat has just said that the time will double on the subathon because of a poll that we... Okay, I'm just going to pretend that's not a thing. Roll the intro. Okay, Edify. Come on, buddy. Let's go ahead and let's do our thing here.
Are COVID vaccine mandates ethical?
Oh, COVID vaccine mandates. Just COVID? Then, yeah.
Is there a moral obligation to get vaccinated?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Josh Hochschild, Professor of Philosophy. I'm curious who you are. Josh Hochschild. Let's take a look here. Josh... let's see. He served as a dean, professor of philosophy, and director of philosophy, politics, and economics. All of them? Okay. Hundreds of people signed a petition demanding that he resign. Wait, what? Why did people want him to resign earlier this year? Many students on the campus of Mount St. Mary's University are questioning the actions of Professor Joshua Hochschild after his account of the Capitol events. A philosophy professor at a Catholic University in Maryland is under fire after detailing his participation in protests, which led to the uprising at the Capitol. Oh, he was involved in January 6th. That's the kind of person we're dealing with today. Okay. Interesting. The Fezware, thank you very much for redeeming your points, friend. You fucking monster. Now that we know the flavor of person we're dealing with, let's continue.
What about exemptions? Teaching ethics to college and seminary students during the pandemic, I've heard a lot of questions. These issues can be complicated and confusing.
Yeah?
So let's start with 4 main points secular and religious ethicists, as well as Catholic authorities, have made about COVID vaccination.
Why do Catholic authorities matter? I understand that Edify is a Catholic organization. How the fuck do Catholic authorities matter when it comes to the conversation about science and ethics? What does Catholicism bring to that conversation?
The vaccine is not itself evil or immoral.
Correct.
The vaccine should be widely available. It should not be reserved only for individuals or countries with special privileges.
Yep.
The vaccine expresses solidarity and charity. Getting vaccinated serves the community. It embodies virtuous love of neighbor.
Correct. Continue.
Finally, vaccination must be voluntary. Because it is a morally significant choice, it must be freely chosen, without coercion.
Why? Okay, look, so here's my question. Here's my question for this particular thing. Why? Because let me throw a situation at you. You have a disease that is racking the populace. This disease is easily transferred from one person to another. Is your consent, where the vaccine itself is concerned, more important than everybody else's ability to not get whatever sickness you have? that is brought on by that vaccine specifically. This is why I have issues with this particular conversation, because in a perfect world, I agree with this moral. I agree that vaccines should be not mandatory, but should be voluntary. I agree with that. The problem right now is that we are seeing the end result of that. And the end result of that is a shit ton of disinformation coming out about vaccines, and people just straight up going and not getting them even when they could be getting them, and saving other people's lives legitimately. He said that a bunch of American Catholics will probably go Sedevacantist. Probably, because they're going to do the whole, the Pope is illegitimate type of shit. But, you know, I just... Again, in a perfect world where people were properly informed, yes, vaccines should be, especially in general, they should be non-mandatory. But we don't live in that world, so I don't know. I don't know. Where COVID's concerned specifically, I'm at that point where I'm just like, no, you should just get vaccinated. If you are not immunocompromised, if you do not have a particular side effect that you are worried about with the vaccine where, like, allergies are concerned, you should get vaccinated. Period. There's not really an ifs, ands, or buts there. There's the only arguments against it outside of I have a health concern, a legitimate health concern, not one you made the fuck up like Morgellons. Outside of a legitimate health concern, my opinion is that if you say you don't want to get vaccinated for COVID specifically, you're just being a child. That you're just being a child. But again, this is the thing. In a perfect world, everybody could just get it voluntarily because everybody would be informed equally. But we're not. Not to mention, a lot of these arguments don't really work when we talk about children in schools. Because people will say that, oh, vaccines shouldn't be mandatory in schools either, but you're literally creating an environment where there's shit tons of human incubators that teachers have to deal with. At what point does the teacher's consent in that situation matter? At what point is it important to make sure that they don't, you know, end up dying? There was a post that I did a video on about a year ago where I was mad because they effectively were arguing that teachers should be put on, you know, the funeral pyre in this particular situation, and I don't agree with that. But let's continue the video. I'm pontificating at this point. It's none of the shit I'm saying matters.
For Catholics, the Church does not teach that getting the COVID vaccine is an absolute obligation.
Why does that matter? It shouldn't fucking matter. I don't give a fuck what the Catholic Church thinks.
While some bishops and priests, and even the Pope, have strongly encouraged vaccination, there is no authoritative Catholic teaching that requires it. The Vatican's teaching office has said clearly that practical reason makes evident that vaccination is not, as a rule, a moral obligation.
Actually, no. Here's why. Practical reason would be a subset of pragmatism, because we are looking at the practicality of things. We are looking at things through a Unitarian lens. Okay, if we are doing that, then it makes it evident that vaccination as a rule is a moral obligation because it, in and of itself, maximizes good in the world. By getting vaccinated, you are lowering the chance of you transferring onto another person. You are lowering the chance of you yourself suffering when that time comes, which again, transfers a shit ton of grief onto other people. Which means that at that point, yes, it is a moral obligation. If we are looking through this through a moral lens, through a lens of practicality, you maximize good and goodwill in the world, and you lessen suffering in the world by having more people vaccinated. Do not say dumb bullshit, and this is why the Catholic Church is not authority on jack shit. Do not say dumb bullshit like practical reason makes evidence that it's not a moral obligation. Now, should it be a legal obligation? Like I said earlier, I am more on the fence on the legal obligation. Though where COVID's concerned specifically, I think we're starting to see that maybe that's a thing that we should be looking into anyway. But As a moral obligation? Yeah, no, just fucking get it.
Think about it this way.
No.
Something can be morally allowable, even virtuous, and still not be required. Many kinds of acts, like giving money to a homeless person or getting married, are generally virtuous without being required in every particular case.
Okay, but this is not every particular case. This is one. Get vaccinated so that other people are more safe. It's one case.
Circumstances matter.
Yeah.
While Catholic teaching generally supports COVID vaccination as permissible and virtuous, an individual person's particular circumstances may inform a different decision to not get the vaccine.
And let me go ahead and tell you those individual circumstances. 1, family disowning you if you get it. 2, you being in a situation where you are immunocompromised and the vaccine is a risk to your health. 3, an allergic reaction to individual things in the vaccine itself. There you go. Those are the particular circumstances. But what Edify is going to do, and I'm going to go ahead and take a bet on this one, they're going to be vague. They're going to say, oh, particular circumstances, and they're not going to expound on that. And by not expounding on that, you, the viewer, get to fill in the blank. And when you, the viewer, get to fill in the blank, you get to put any number of dumb shit in there.
What kind of circumstances? Things like health conditions or disabilities that...
Oh shit, they actually did talk about it. I was wrong. I will take that L.
Increase the danger of the vaccine. Stricter standards for the ethics of vaccine development, much like a vegetarian refusing to eat meat. Legitimate weighing of health risks and benefits.
Wait, what is legitimate weighing of health risks and benefits here? Wait, hold on. What is the actual legitimate weighing of health risks and benefits? Also, what does this one mean? Stricter ethical standards of vaccine development? My guy, once the vaccine is already developed, you can't just be... I'm just going to say this right now. You can't just be like, hey, now that the vaccine's developed, I would like it to be developed more ethically, so I'm not going to take it until you make a new one and you develop it more ethically. No. And vegetarianism is not the same thing as being anti-vax. Yeah, no, this is fucking... That's not a good point. The first one, sure. I agree with this. I agree with this one.
Things like health conditions.
I agree with health conditions. It's one of the ones that I listed myself. This? No. Legitimate weighing of health risks and benefits. This is just this one restated again.
Legitimate weighing of health risks and benefits. Differing
The ethical thing is about the fetal cells? Oh shit, really? Okay, so for the next anti-vax dumb shit that wants to come into my comment section, obviously that's not anybody in the chat right now, but let's talk about the fetal cells in fucking vaccines, okay? The fetal cells in vaccines, the aborted fetal cells that I'm sure they're referring to then, thanks to Sarah Chikorita pointing it out, we have been using the exact same ones from the same culture for like 30 fucking years. We have not been just randomly aborting goddamn babies in order to develop more vaccines. We've been using the same culture of cells for fucking ages. And that's not an argument from tradition. That is literally... You cannot... I'm just going to put this in a way a Christian can understand. For us to live with better vaccines... There is a single case of aborted cells that was used as a culture, and that aborted cell case has been used as a culture to spread the ability to get vaccinated onto all of us. Much like your Lord Jesus Christ died for your sins, that aborted clump of cells was used to help us against diseases. It's the same thing. Blood sacrifices are okay in your lore, but they're not okay in reality, I guess. Whatever.
Assessments of which sources we should trust for public health advice. Finally, real or perceived coercion. The circumstances of a choice change when people are unduly pressured. Depending on how it is implemented, a mandate could threaten the loss of one's job, income, medical care, access to family, or access to schooling.
Yeah. Because at your job, you're a risk to your coworkers. At your family, you're a risk to your family. Your medical care? can be revoked if you're a risk to the other people in the hospital. Your education can be revoked if you're a risk to the other people inside the actual facility. Yeah, you could lose all these things. You could lose all these things. Or you could just get the vaccine, and that solves that problem. Because we know the vaccine is safe.
So let's be clear. Catholic teaching and general ethical principles allow for a decision to not be vaccinated. Catholics and all Americans may conscientiously arrive at this decision and seek reasonable conscience or ethical or religious exemptions from vaccine mandates.
No. Religious exemption from a vaccine mandate. How are you going to get a religious exemption from the vaccine mandate if that happens? I'm just curious. What mechanism are you going to use here? But what fucking mechanism? Okay, so your conscientious objection to the vaccine. Chat, anti-vax people who happen to be in the comment section. I need this now. Drop it in there. I am asking for a good faith discussion. You. What is your conscientious issue with the vaccine? In a separate paragraph, I would like your ethical issue with the vaccine. Not the vaccine mandates, the vaccine. Now, what is your religious exemption from the vaccine? In which way are any of these 3 categories even fucking useful? Explain. I need you to explain. So again, anti-vax dipshits, in the comment section. This is where I am calling for you. I want to read these things. May or may not respond to them in a video. Who knows?
Everyone, religious or otherwise, should follow their conscience. And Catholic teaching specifically supports obedience to conscience as a moral obligation. Catholic pastors can even support exemption requests with letters explaining Catholic teaching about conscience and attesting to someone's prayerful and conscientious discernment.
So, what you're saying is a religious exemption in this situation is just, I prayed to God and God said no. It's literally a combination of Daddy said I didn't have to take it, and God Daddy said I didn't have to take it, despite me not having any evidence that he's ever actually responded to anything I've said. Like a very abusive, one-sided relationship. Or a parasocial relationship with a streamer.
Now, if vaccination should be voluntary, and if people are allowed to seek exemption from vaccine mandates, are COVID vaccine mandates ethical? As a general rule, civil authorities may mandate certain behavior to foster health and safety.
Okay, so the vaccine fosters health and safety. There you go, problem solved. Thanks for that.
Things like traffic laws and building codes are obvious examples.
Yeah, or a vaccine.
However, requiring a medical procedure is different from requiring people to wear seatbelts or install fire alarms.
Yes and no. See, here's the thing. The medical procedure is to make you not a danger to other people. That's functionally what it is.
Vaccination is an irreversible medical choice.
An irreversible medical choice. What is the downside of the vaccine that you're worried about needing to reverse, my guy?
Injecting something, in this case, something very recently developed, into one's body.
Why does it matter that it was very recently developed? We recently developed all kinds of different fucking things we put into our bodies. I recently developed a new thing to shove up my... Anyway, continuing on.
To modify the dynamics of one's immune system. So a decision to mandate
modifies the dynamics of your immune system? No, the fuck it doesn't. Vaccines use your existing immune system. It doesn't modify the dynamics. The dynamics of it are the exact same fucking thing.
Like the decision about vaccination, depends on prudent judgment in the face of complex circumstances.
There is no complex circumstance. There is a disease out there. It is killing people. It is debilitating even more people. It is infecting even more people, and we cannot stop it currently. We need vaccines right now to make sure that we are going to be safer from it. There is no real downside to the vaccine that is of a statistical significant portion. Therefore, the prudent judgment is just get the fucking vaccine. Holy God shit. Why is this so hard?
Mandates can't be justified vaguely as supported by Catholic teaching.
Then why are you justifying shit vaguely in this video, my guy?
Catholic teaching doesn't require vaccination and doesn't recommend mandates.
Okay, and I don't care. I'm sorry. I don't care what Catholic teaching has to say about the law. I, in fact, want Catholic teaching as far away from the law as possible.
Vaccine policy is not only about the biological good of health, but about the political good of solidarity. Mandates can be licit, but their implementation should foster trust, build community, and show respect for persons.
Yeah, and you do not show respect for persons when you do not get mandated. So when you do not get vaccinated. So get vaccinated. You're literally making my argument for me. I could just shut up and let you talk.
Most commonly through reasonable opportunities for exemption.
And I've listed the reasons that I think are reasonable, and I do not think your reasons are reasonable.
There are no easy one-size-fits-all technical solutions to complex social challenges.
I mean, so I have a question, guys. Can we find a one-size-fits-all technical solution to the goddamn audio problems in this video? This is like Dennis Prager levels of mouth water, just lip smacking shit. Just here. Now that I've pointed out that there's a watery quality to his voice, listen closely again.
There are no easy one-size-fits-all technical solutions to complex social challenges.
You will never be able to unhear that tongue moving around in that mouth. You will not be able to unhear it.
A worldwide pandemic reminds us that we must all embrace, with courage and humility, the God-given responsibility of exercising sound judgment.
But sound judgment does not change from person to person in this situation. There are a categorical list of things that allow you exceptions. You have not listed the things that categorically allow those exceptions, at least not to a point where I am satisfied. Let's not talk about what sound judgment is here. Thank God you're charging your headphones and you can't hear it. Nope.
Faithful Catholics and all responsible citizens must work together to seek a common good, including, as the basis of any other worthy choices, respecting and protecting the gift of conscience.
That just sounded like anti-abortion shit got added in at the last second. Am I the only one that caught that? Am I the only one that feels that way?
I'm Josh Hochschild, professor of philosophy at Mount St. Mary's University, for Edify. Thank you for watching this video.
Nope, I don't want to share it with a friend. In fact, actually, I'm kind of disgusted I shared it with all of you. Y'all want a palate cleanser? I would like a very solid object and the free flowing motion of my forehead. And I think together, we can make magic happen. That's what I think. Anyways. This is not a sentence, this is a bunch of keywords! That counts as plugging time to shill. Yeah, go to DDLG Playground, coupon code Suris, dildo, up butt, fuck yourself. Okay, anyways. Okay. On that note, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Again, anti-vax people who happen to be in there, go ahead and give me your opinions. I want to know what, again, I said it earlier in the video. I don't need to restate. Conscientious objections, ethical objections, religious objections. Go ahead and hand those to me down there. I can't wait for there to be one person that says, my religious objections, I think it's the mark of the beast. Can't wait. It's gonna be at least one. There's gotta be. Okay. Anyway, if you want to support the channel and what I do, you have plenty of ways to do so in the description below. You can go to my merch store, you can go to Patreon, you can go and do all kinds of things. With all that said, though, insert end of video tagline here. The pain is over. Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. It really means a lot to me. If you want access to behind-the-scenes content for the channel, please consider checking out my Patreon. I do weekly vlogs over there where I give real-life updates to what's going on behind the scenes on the channel, stuff that you don't really get over here and even on Twitch. Patreon also helps the channel's stability a whole lot. Without Patreon, I wouldn't be able to do this at all. Especially with the kind of content that I do, neither YouTube nor Twitch are the most stable sources of income. If you are a $20 and up patron, then you will be featured on the ending slides as shown in the beginning of the end credits. If you want to catch the streams where all this content comes from, then consider heading over to Twitch and following. And if you want to continue watching over here on YouTube, maybe consider clicking one of the end screen videos. And once again, I want to thank you so much for spending your time with me over on my channel. I wouldn't be able to do literally anything that I'm doing over here on YouTube without each and every one of you. So, thank you.